Hello and welcome to episode 15 of Butler School. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to look at a personal passion of mine, which is coffee. So I took a raw recruit last year to do some coffee tasting. Let's see what happened. Right, so here we are in Gatehouse Coffee Roasters in Paisley. Today Jude's going to learn a bit about coffee and how it's made and how it's served at its best.
It looks, so it's actually more green like that, and the beans all look different. The Ethiopian beans look different than the Vietnamese beans, etc. But we get them like this, and then what people expect to see coffee is like it's in the hopper over there, the dark brown. That's only after it's been through the roaster. So we actually import the green coffee beans and we roast it, and then it looks more like what you expect to see in the coffee shop.
So is that how every coffee bean comes in?
And that's how it is when it gets to us. Before this, it actually, coffee grows as like a cherry, and it's red. And this is out of the inside of that, and then it's dried and imported to us as a green bean, as it's called. And then we roast it, and it comes out as the brown coffee beans that you're used to seeing. But even at this stage, like inside all the different sacks we have, you can even smell the differences in them, even at this green stage as well. Although they do smell more sort of vegetal when they're like this in the sacks, because they're not roasted yet. That's how it is when it gets to.
So I'm guessing those ones aren't ready yet?
Yeah, so the red ones are ripe, and they'll. The coffee that we have, is all hand-picked. So every time you hold one of our coffee beans, somebody's hand has, picked it from there, and then they usually lay that. There'll be pictures in here somewhere. They're laying them out and drying them. The washing stations, they get there's different ways of processing coffee, but you can wash all the pulp off the. Let me just see. There's probably drying in here somewhere. So there's so much of a process that goes into it, before it gets into your cup, and we're just, so see all the coffee beans just laid out to dry in the sun. We're just one part of this long process. Nate always says when he's roasting that his job is just to be the non-ruiner of the bean, because for us to say, these are our coffee beans, it doesn't even feel right when there's so many people that have been involved in growing it and picking it, and the process before it gets to us is so vast and so long, and every one of us along the way just needs to do our part to do our step in the process well, and after it leaves us, that then goes over to the barista to do their part of the process well, to create a good cup of coffee. So long done. Well, Nate's roasted them, but we haven't done anything to make that coffee smell like blueberries. That's just the nature of where it was grown and how it was grown, and the soil it was grown in, and the altitude it's grown at.
Does the heat factor in it?
Yeah. And then when we roast, some places, the more sort of commodity roasters will roast very, very dark, and we'll lose a lot of those natural flavours that are in the beans. We roast a little lighter than that because we want to keep those natural qualities that are in there, so you can taste the difference between an Ethiopian and a Vietnam and a Brazil. Because that's the beauty of the coffee, is that it does have its own taste notes depending on where it's from.
What's your favourite?
Decent as a first home buyer, that's something that costs you a lot of money. So for people who don't have a big income, then to be able to buy a house is possible to buy a house. We were lucky because we have a deposit, that got us that little bit higher bracket. But most people, they'll be looking in the 70,000, 80,000 range.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll just leave those for, 10 minutes and let it cool down a bit, and then we'll taste them.
Be ready to do really obnoxious slurping noises, because just like with tasting wine, you want to get the oxygen in your mouth to really be able to taste it and let it fall around all of your mouth and get all the taste from it. So you're going to take your cooking spoon and just get a little bit of coffee on the spoon.
Which would have been perfect.
And then when you're tasting it, we'd rather you taste it and let us know what you taste, rather than us saying, taste this one and you should taste this and you should taste that. Because everybody's maybe going to taste something different, and whatever you taste is legitimate and is just as valid as what I might taste or what somebody else might taste. So you will dip your spoon in the water after you've tasted that one, and then try say there's blueberry tones in this one. This one's our Vietnam, closer to more traditional sort of coffee taste. There's undertones of almost a tobacco taste in that one.
Yeah.
So lots of our customers prefer this kind of taste. It's more what people expect, maybe if they haven't been introduced to specialty coffee before, whereas this one's a little bit more out there. People aren't always expecting a fruity taste with coffee, but it's great to encourage people to try different types of coffees and see that, you know, there's not just one coffee taste,
one
there's
coffee.
all different types of coffee. And this isn't, a lot of people think when you talk about fruity tones in coffee, oh, we can put something in there. We don't add anything. Those fruit tones in there are all from the bean itself. Like we talked about before, you know, the altitude and the soil, the area of the world it comes from, that is just that coffee. We certainly don't put tastes in there. We just roast it in such a way to highlight the natural tastes that are there in the coffee. So yeah, as it cools, keep tasting and see if you taste any difference in there as they cool down as well. But, yeah, so Vietnam.
Yeah, that's a screw. Looks like
See ya. Maybe watch that one too. See ya.
Oh, I can taste the fruit a lot better now actually.
Now it's
As
cooled.
it cools, it
Yeah.
I can tell that that's the fruity one.
Well, sometimes when it's so hot, all your mouth can deal with is
It's
that
just
it's
hotness,
hot.
yes. I don't know, I like the fruity one now as it cools. When it was hot, I liked the Vietnamese one, but now that it's cooled, the Ethiopian tastes better.
And it's also okay to like them both in different ways for different reasons. They're very different.
It smells a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll do more. That one definitely smells a blueberry.